Don't you say that, camp. Don't you say that. Alrighty, everybody, welcome back to another live stream here on the channel. Hopefully you guys all have had a fantastic 8 last-ish days since I last saw you. Let's see what we have here in the chat. We have Ohio, we have Studios, we also have XD, Leah, and Lucy as well. Glad to see you back in here, Lucy, and glad to see your mod dome is working very well. For a bit there, I kind of thought that the mod dome wasn't working, but I think it's in full force again. Let's see, we also have Haywood in here, Catman, and everyone else who is in the chat who I may have forgotten to welcome. Or if you are just watching and not chatting, glad to have you in here. Alrighty, let's go ahead and find the right scene. Hopefully everything is decent enough here. Yeah, I apologize for the lack of content over the last 8 days. I'll start with that right off the bat. I got very, very busy between obviously my birthday and then also Lucky coming. He was here. And then the 4th of July. That all happened in the span of like 8 or 9 days. So like, or actually like 10 days, about 10 days. So it was just one thing after another, and then I have I have something that I got to do on Thursday too. So it's still busy. So today was really like the main day that I think I could fit this live stream in here. So we're here. Man, we've had a lot of activity across the U.S. We just had one of the biggest outbreak days of the entire year the other day across the U.S. here. If we go over to our storm reports, and I go ahead and go to just 2 days ago here on the 4th of July, we had over 1,000 wind reports out here across the United States, including a very significant MCS that tracked across central Missouri and another MCS that tracked across Kansas and Oklahoma, and then a very widespread clusters of significant severe storms across the eastern half of the U.S. And I actually predicted that very, very well. I was forecasting that just off stream and not on the Discord server either, unfortunately, but I did actually have a 60% wind risk out here across the DC metro, and that verified well. The SPC had a 45% wind risk here. It was just a perfect setup for significant damaging winds out there across from roughly southern New York all the way to southern Virginia.
A new flash
I did not miss that. I must say, I did not miss that. I'm really going to have to try to fix that, the flash flood warnings. I definitely didn't miss that, Tom, but a very, very significant day for severe weather about 2-3 days ago. And then we go to the 5th, which is 2 days ago. We had a random spin up in Ohio. Nothing too insane elsewhere across the U.S., just really your general July activity. And yesterday, for those who were paying more attention to the weather than I was, probably saw that PDS tornado warning up there in Minnesota. This guy up here. We actually got a particularly dangerous situation tornado warning yesterday in Minnesota, and I fully missed it. I was not weather aware at all. I had no idea we had the opportunity for strong tornadoes yesterday across Minnesota, but we did end up with a PDS warning up there. It didn't seem very significant, but if we scroll down, you can see we actually did get 2 injury reports that I just now heard of. This is my first time seeing that. So that's from a roof blown off in Minnesota. Very unfortunate there, but at least those are not fatalities. And hopefully those 2 are okay. But yeah, we did get, like I said, PDS tornado warning yesterday. And then today we've had probably one of the more inactive days of severe weather of the week. Only 25 wind reports in thus far, and a random land spout, I believe, in southeastern Wyoming. Yeah, 2 land spouts actually in southeastern Wyoming earlier today. So nothing too insane yet across the country. I don't think we'll see anything too insane at all today, but there definitely is, some severe storms. I went live, and then my weather radio decided to go off as I was doing the intro music, and I am literally like 1 mile away from this. Like I'm 1 mile, 2 miles, probably 1 mile away from this severe thunderstorm warning here, heading almost right towards me. And then Lucky has been getting absolutely demolished in Raleigh and southeastern Durham. They've been getting absolutely demolished by severe storms in the last 3 or 4 days. You guys have been getting significant thunderstorms for North Carolina standards. But yeah, I just want to do a recap on the last few days there and talk about today. We'll go in the future in just a bit. I actually want to take y'all over to Cyclonic WX here. Catman, I don't know when they came out with this, but this is fire, man. If we go to cyclonicwx.com here, they added a interactive button here. And let me tell you, it improved the site by 200%. Like, this site will be the go-to site for this hurricane season, I tell you. You have the Google DeepMind ensembles here, which is just absolutely awesome. And you can see they give you a very, very clear cut. Also have a pin on this. Very clear track of right where that typhoon is going. I forgot, what is this typhoon called again? Let me see. What is it called? It is called how do you pronounce that? Bavi? Bavi, something like that. And this has been a very significant typhoon. If you haven't been keeping up with my tweets on Twitter, this made landfall as a 180 mile per hour wind sustained super typhoon category 5 and a central minimum pressure of 901 millibars. However, I do think the central millibar pressure was actually closer to the 890s and not the 901 is what they had it at. I actually think it was probably closer to the 890s just before making landfall. As it made landfall, I do think it did weaken into a 901 millibar, but before landfall, I actually think it was stronger than that. And I think if we look at tropical divots, we actually can go back far enough. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. Let's see. Yeah, I think is this back far? That right there. That's right as it was passing over the island. Right as it was passing over the island on the 5th of July there. See if we can add a 0 to that and add a few more frames. I believe, yeah, that's going to be the max frames we can add, but that's right as it was passing over the island. So just before this, like 12 hours before this, is when I believe it peaked. And then look at how it underwent this eyewall replacement cycle here. And I got to tell you, this is probably the most impressive super typhoon I have seen after an eyewall replacement cycle in a worse area. This is a least favorable environment, and I haven't seen a super typhoon, I feel like, with this ginormous of an eye and maintaining this well. It is still considered a super typhoon. And I mean, that just looks crazy. When do you see a super typhoon look like that, man? I mean, this eye has got to be, I don't know, I'd guess 25 miles wide is what I would guess there. Just a ginormous eye, and still maintaining 150 mile an hour sustained winds here. And even now, that eye clearing out a little bit more. So this storm has just been extraordinarily impressive. And unfortunately, it did hit that island north of Guam, and it is on track to go ahead and, if we look at the JTWC forecast here, go ahead and barely nick the northeast side of Taiwan. So we'll have to watch that closely if anybody is in Taiwan there, which there's not. The bulk of the population in Taiwan, I believe, is a little bit further to the southwest. Yeah, so you can see there is quite a bit of population on the north side, but the highest population is to the southwest. So that is Taiwan, right? Like, I'm not crazy. I think that's Taiwan. Man, it's been a minute. It's been a minute since I looked at that side of the globe. I believe that's Taiwan. Let's see here. Yes, Caleb, I'm finally live. It's been forever. It has been forever. Probably going to be an MCV of some sorts moving through Illinois on Thursday, and I guarantee a tornado outbreak is going to happen. You know why? Because I will not be able to live stream on that day. I will not be able to live stream on that day, so I guarantee there's going to be a tornado outbreak. Let's see. I can go ahead and tell you right off the bat. All I got to do is go to StormNet. If StormNet is sniffing it out, I can already tell you it's going to be big. You said Thursday. Oh, nope. Probably going to be a 5% tour. StormNet's not very high prob on it, and that's all I need to see. Let me go to... I'm thinking here. Is College Due page back up? It is. They went down for maintenance earlier today. Thankfully, up before we went live. Okay, this is Thursday here. I think the highest tornado threat will be focused from about central Missouri through southern Indiana, right in that vicinity there. So, Lucy, we'll have to see if your mod dome can hold again or not. You've got another opportunity here for it to fail. What is the risk on that? That's day 3. Okay, they got a weird looking marginal. Yeah, expect that to be upgraded to a slight risk in this area right in here. Expect a slight risk for severe weather. Probably something like, it'd probably be double 15%. 15% wind, 15% hail, 5% tour is what I'd expect for this severe threat on day 3. A little bit higher tour threat than the last couple of days. Most of our days in the last week or so have been 2% tornado risks and big wind risks. Yep, Illinois. Of course it's Illinois. MCV in Illinois in 2026 means tornado outbreak. But it doesn't look like that big of a chance here, because if we go to Thursday, it's not a very impressive setup, but it's an MCV, and MCVs don't typically get detected well on model runs. Very few MCVs get portrayed correctly on model data, so it all comes down to the day before, which is tomorrow. It all comes down to tomorrow, because whatever happens with this stuff, if this forms into a big line, that can help create your MCV. And you can see, I wouldn't say the HRRR necessarily has an MCV here. I see a very well-defined MCV. If we go to the NAM, I wouldn't really say there's a well-defined MCV anywhere across this area. I do see a front of some sort and maybe a broad MCV, but not as good of an MCV as before. It kind of looks like it's all in this area right in here. I don't really see a... Yeah, definitely not. Definitely not a focused MCV. Definitely not a very well-defined MCV, one that could cause a tornado outbreak. It's not impossible, especially since we're talking Illinois here, but that's not a very well-defined MCV. I know the earlier model runs we had, those had a better MCV. Nope, I'm still just outside of that. I'm about a mile away from that severe thunderstorm warning. It's in effect for 30 more minutes, so we'll still be live by the time that expires. So, yeah, if I lose power, you know why. You know why. I almost lost power last night. I tell you, man, thought it was a doggone tornado outside. Almost went outside and started looking at the porch at 2 a.m. in the morning. Very heavy rain came through my neck of the woods. To my west, it's like a full-blown looked like a full-blown new ocean was forming out there. Like it was like 2.5 inches in an hour, just off to my west. I don't think I can show you guys that because that was, yeah, a long time ago at this point. But yeah, like this area right here, there was like literally 3 inches of rain in an hour and a half. Like, got absolutely just full on new ocean out there. Let's see. Saw some of the best structure yesterday. Good for you. Glad you got a good catch. July is very, very nice for that. That's why I want to chase one of these days. I haven't really been chasing these risks because they're pop-up thunderstorms, which means they're unpredictable, and they form and die so fast. They form and die so fast. Like if we just go back on this loop here, look how fast these storms fire south of Roanoke. There's nothing. Boom, they fire. And these are actually doing fairly well at sustaining, but sometimes you'll get one like down here in Stewart, where it forms, it looks like it's good, really good, even becomes, blue DBZ at this point, and then it just falls apart. That's July for you. So these aren't really the type of storms that I'm a fan of chasing. I believe it is near... Why the heck did it take me to Alaska? Go to 500 millibar. Yeah, thought so. It's kind of in between two highs. So you have a high pressure here and a high pressure here. And yeah, that's just it's just classic July damaging wind threat across my neck of the woods. I did see that violent tornado, I believe, the day before yesterday in China. Went through a very major populated city in China, at least 11 fatalities with that intense to violent tornado that went through a very populated city. I didn't see much of the damage, but I did hear of roughly 11 fatalities out of that. So yeah, there's kind of three big stories recently. The PDS tornado warning, 4, I'd say. We had the 1,000 damaging wind reports 3 days ago, the PDS tornado warning yesterday, and also the typhoon, and then the tornado in China. Kind of 4 big weather events in the last 4 days or so. Big old severe thunderstorm warning just got issued for the city of Raleigh, North Carolina. I know we've had some viewers in the chat from that area. This is just your ordinary July thunderstorm in Raleigh. It is a little bit stronger than your ordinary one. It's not every day you get in a severe storm in Raleigh, but over the last 3 or 4 days or so, it's been pretty much a daily occurrence with all the instability available. But just know, heavy rain, a lot of lightning, and you might get 30 to 40 mile an hour winds. We can't rule out a random wind gust somewhere along this line of up to 60 miles per hour, but most likely you're going to get closer to 30 mile an hour winds in your area. However, you never know. You could be the unlucky person to get 60 mile an hour winds in this, which is why it is advised that you go indoors, away from doors and windows. And, yeah, stay inside. Stay inside. I believe there was a wedge in Russia like a week ago. I remember seeing that on Twitter. Oh yeah, how could I forget the tornado in Alaska the other day? We had a tornado spotted in Alaska, and it got rated as a funnel cloud. And that has sparked debate all over Twitter. I've seen that all over my feed. Somebody shared a photo of a wedge tornado and said funnel cloud. Because I believe it was a tornado over water in Alaska, but it couldn't lift any debris because it was I think it was over water or a lake, something like that. But it was fully touched down. It just couldn't loft debris because it was over water. I'd have to look at the video again, but I believe, or the picture, but I believe it was a lake. And then, of course, we've had the temperatures too. We've had the absurd temperatures over the last few days across the U.S. Friggin' 100 and... It was 100... feels like of 125 degrees on, I believe, July 3rd out here in Martinsville, Virginia. Feels like of 125 degrees. Never in my life. I took a screenshot of it because I've never seen it that high. And I believe a heat index was like 121 off to my east. I mean, I've never seen that in my life of living here. It was absolutely crazy. And guess what? I went out in it. I went out in it. We had outdoor activities on the 2nd and the 3rd. So I was out in both of that. Didn't get sunburned though. Sunscreen and a lot of shade and water. It keeps you alive, man. Thankfully, the heat wave not as significant this time around. We're not looking at that type of heat in the very near term. However, I do know in the long term, if we look here, I believe like early next week, Oklahoma. Yes, Tuesday. Going into Tuesday, Wednesday, we start getting those hot, very hot temperatures back across the plains, especially Thursday. So it looks like early to late next week. Yeah, Oklahoma's going to be baking. Baking out here, I tell you. Almost 110 degrees Sunday, next Sunday. 111. Of course, this is far out, but I do think that it is a possibility. Let's see what the... let's see here. The best thing to look at is this. This is the Euro ensemble. So this will give you an idea of the average here. So you can see how it really stays into the upper 80s. But by the time you get to mid next week, Wednesday, you're at 94, 96 on Thursday, 98 on Friday, 98 on Saturday. So obviously there's going to be a good chance you hit 100s sometime mid to late next week in Oklahoma. But the insane record-breaking temps of 110, 120 degrees Fahrenheit heat indexes, I don't think are as likely with that. Got a random considerable severe for 1.75 inch hail up here in Montana in the marginal risk area, marginal and general thunderstorm risk. But all right, let's go to our GFS. So let's talk about this MCS pattern that we're going in. So this is the pattern that we're in right now, which is a double high pressure pattern. We got a high pressure here and a high pressure down in here. And what this is leading to is a very strong and a very intense blocking pattern. We get a lot of instability pulled up from the Gulf and lofted here into the southeastern U.S. And that's why we've had, at this point, we're looking at a full 7-day stretch of severe weather possible in this area. And then back out here across the south central, or rather the Four Corners areas here. You could see this other secondary high pressure. What this is allowing for is some belts of flow to sneak by across the northern side of the U.S. So therefore, you got your two areas of severe weather. Over the last about week or so, those are the two regions we've been watching the most. We've been watching the mid-Atlantic area. We've been watching that belt of flow on the northern side of the high pressure. And then also that high pressure brought down another little belt of flow down in here that brought that MCS to Kansas and Oklahoma. So those are your two driving factors for severe weather in the last week, and they will continue to be your driving factors for the next couple of days. As we go into Wednesday, not much will change, just your same ordinary severe storms possible tomorrow. Thursday, however, our high pressure in the southeastern U.S. breaks down a little bit. What that allows for is this tiny little shortwave trough to pull in across Missouri, Iowa, and Illinois. And that could allow for a little bit higher tornado potential than what we have seen over the last couple of days, and especially across Missouri and Illinois. That would really focus on, once more, central southern Missouri, southern Illinois, and south central southwestern Indiana. Then as we go into next week, that is when our really good derecho potential looks to start forming here. Once we go towards almost the second half of July here. This is July 13th, and that might be our first opportunity at an MCS or derecho occurring. As you can see here, if we go to your instability, we're going to have a lot of CAPE up there, most likely, in Wisconsin and Minnesota. We switch back to our 500 millibar, and we're basically just going to be dealing with this ginormous ridge here across the U.S. That is a very large high pressure, very, very large high pressure portrayed by the GFS. I don't know if it's going to be that large and that intense. That'd be kind of crazy. I feel like that's... Okay, so there's definitely some variables in this overall pattern, but The general idea is we're going to have a high pressure somewhere across the central U.S., and that's going to allow for a large belt of flow to impact the Midwest and the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic portions of the U.S. So the main area we're going to be watching for derecho potential will most likely end up being here. Got to switch back over to the right model run. I'm thinking probably Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio. I think that's going to be the primary area for MCS and derecho potential towards the middle of July. It's a little difficult to pinpoint exactly where because it does vary run from run, but you could see how this belt of flow stays fairly active across Illinois and Indiana. It starts really here on the 15th, 14th, 15th of July, and then it just continues throughout the entire model run, even till the 23rd of July. If we take a look at the Euro, it's a little bit similar, maybe a little bit further east than the GFS, but you can see it starts on the 13th on this run. The 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th, there's a belt of flow somewhere across Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, maybe even into the far eastern U.S. A little bit different here, though, is once we go towards July 20th, what happens is this high pressure is actually stronger and a little bit further north, and you don't really have any belt of flows up here. There's really not a lot of flow on the northern edge of that, so I don't think that's likely. I feel like that's probably just the Euro not being accurate, to be honest with you. I don't see that happening. I don't think we'll enter an inactive phase for severe weather towards the end of July. I think we'll keep with this MCS pattern through the mid and end of July. I'm actually curious what the 0Z Euro had. Yeah, even the 0Z Euro had that belt of flow lasting a little longer across the Midwest. So I think we're going to have some decent derecho potential if you live in Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, and maybe even towards the northeastern U.S. as we go towards the second half of July. Now, the good news is if you are in those areas and you're very fearful of something called tornadoes, you don't have to worry about those much. This is not really the type of flow that gives you a bunch of tornadoes. I definitely wouldn't rule out a few tornadoes every now and then with some of these events if we can get some wind shear sneaking in. But these should really favor more of damaging wind bags. So I would be more concerned about the potential for 60 to 80 mile an hour winds in those areas than the tornado potential. I don't think tornado potential will be all that high for July. It hasn't been so far, and I think that will continue to be the case. I don't expect... Well, color me intrigued. I don't expect a good pattern for tornadoes really at any point in this month. I really don't think we'll see much of a tornado threat. Like I said, of course, you can't rule out a tornado every now and then, and we might have like a random chance for a tornado outbreak out of one of those MCSs. If we can get like a good trough to align with a decent amount of instability, maybe like what the GFS is portraying for the 14th, that might pose a little bit better chance for a tornado outbreak, but I really think we're going to be favoring more of an MCS threat. I really think that's what we're going to be favoring here. Imagine... I was just looking at that cape there and that trough, how it moves west like that. I was going to say, imagine we get like a west moving derecho, like it starts here in Mississippi and goes to Texas. How odd would that be? Remember the NAM 3K model showed that in Illinois, I think last year? Showed a derecho starting up in like Iowa and Wisconsin and then pulling a U-turn and going back to Iowa. I remember that run. That was a crazy run. Western Pennsylvania should be in a very stormy pattern as well. I wouldn't expect many tor threats, but you could expect quite a bit of damaging wind potential, not only in the short term here, but also in the long run. Day 3 or in a general thunderstorm might get pushed to that marginal. We'll have to see. But also in the long term, towards the middle and end of July, you're definitely going to have some damaging wind potential. We just got to work out where that high pressure is going to be. That's going to be the biggest factor here. You see a lot of different scenarios in the last 3 GFS runs. And we got to figure out where that high pressure is going to be, and that will help us with exactly where the highest MCS and derecho potential will be. Conditional all hazards threat on Thursday. This Thursday? Oh yeah, I see that. I see that. This is the NAM model, which goes ham in Missouri and Illinois for some odd reason. Yeah, that goes, wow. That's why. Look at that. That's a very, very strong MCV right there. That would cause probably a borderline significant tornado outbreak across Illinois. However, hold the phone. Hold on. Hold on before you get worrying. I don't think that's going to happen. I highly doubt that's going to occur. I think the NAM is literally the only model run that shows that happening. There's a reason why this model's being discontinued. I believe in October. I believe they have extended the lifespan of the NAM model by a month and a half. Yeah, the main chance for a tornado may actually be back up there into like Canada, Saskatchewan, that area. I'll be in Virginia next week, leaving my house on Tuesday. Have fun. If you are taking Interstate 81, recently they've put up traffic cameras. I don't know if that is for everywhere on I-81, but I do know the state of Virginia has put up multiple traffic cameras, speeding traffic cameras that will get your license plate if you're speeding and send you a ticket in the mail. So if you want to tell whoever's driving that information, that would be a very wise idea. I don't know where they're placed, but I do know they've already given out thousands of tickets. Yep, to October. Yep, sure was, Catman. Actually, no, that's like 2 months, right? It's like 2 months. Pretty sure that's like 2.5 month extension for the NAM. Yeah, I don't see that crazy tornado threat verifying like what the... It's only the NAM 18Z. Look at that. The 06Z, the 12Z were normal, and then the 18Z is the one that has the crazy Tor outbreak for Thursday. I mean, you definitely want to watch it, you know? Definitely want to be watching that MCV. I wouldn't rule out a random uptrend in some of our model runs for Thursday. Again, the area I'd be watching is from central Missouri, southern Illinois to southwestern Indiana. I do think the SPC, again, is going to upgrade to probably a 15%. This is the day 3 outlook right now. Y'all are in a marginal. I think tomorrow they'll upgrade to probably a 15% wind, hail, and a 5% Tor in that area. I do think the SPC will upgrade. Yeah, but on another note, there is a new storm chasing type game. It's not really chasing. A new storm related game coming out in a little over a week. I believe it's coming out Thursday, next Thursday, not this upcoming Thursday, but next Thursday, called Funnel Runners. I've been following that for, I believe, about 4 or 5 months or so, and it looks decent. It looks like a fun a fun survival type storm related game, weather related game. It's not revolved around chasing tornadoes or anything, more of surviving them and trying to escape them. And a big thing, it's going to be pretty cheap. It's going to be $15, which for a new game in this economy and in this time of the year, yeah, that's not a lot. That's not a lot. Outbreak, I think that released at almost $60. What do you think about that line into Virginia on Thursday, or a messy line? The thing is, a lot of our storms here are going to just be summertime pop ups. I don't think we're going to be getting any good threats for tornadoes or large hail. We're looking at many of these days are half-inch hail and 60-mile-an-hour winds being possible, and occasionally somebody may get that worst case scenario 70-mile-an-hour wind gust. None of these days in Virginia or West Virginia look like they will pose much of a tornado threat, a large hail threat, or a line threat. They're going to be, if I switch back to the HRRR here, this is for Thursday, for instance, they're going to be these pop-up thunderstorms with very small hail and mainly damaging winds. There won't be large hail, and there shouldn't be much of a tor threat. We could go to CSU Severe real quick. Wanted to check something real quick. Let's go here. Jump scare. What's that for? May 6th, 2026. Apparently we were dealing with a borderline moderate there in Mississippi, Alabama. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a 6-panel here. And we're going to have to change the date to 2026 07 07. It's 0707. And there you go. So if you look, Virginia's in a slight risk on this particular product on the 9th, the 10th, the 11th. Goes into North Carolina on the 12th, and we go back to marginal on the 13th, 14th. So we're looking at from today all the way through the 13th. So that's over a full week of damaging winds, because we've been dealing with this pattern for already 3 days. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then all the way to this upcoming Monday. So that's a full week or more of damaging winds across Virginia, North Carolina, and West Virginia. For Thursday, yeah, I think we'll be in a slight risk. This is a bit far south. This particular product has the slight risk in Virginia being central and southern. It might be a little bit further to the north than that. That would actually be a really good threat right there. So what this actually has is this has the MCV. It looks like this has the MCV from Illinois almost. Oh no, this is actually for Thursday. What is that? Is that like another... What is that? Is that just a low pressure, it looks like? That would pose a pretty high threat for damaging winds, even some large hail, and maybe even a tornado or two, if that comes to fruition. But I do think the slight risk... I do think a slight risk will be added for Thursday, and I think it will be more towards this region in here. I don't think it's going to go into North Carolina. I'd like to see the wrap here. Yeah, I think it's going to focus more towards central to southern Virginia. I think we could get a slight risk out there, which right now, if we go to the Storm Prediction Center Outlook, they have a marginal across this area from southeast PA all the way to northeast North Carolina. I think that marginal is going to be pushed back to the west and well to the south, and I think we'll see a slight risk added right in this vicinity. Good job, Legacy. I just know that they're out for sure. I saw it all over the news. May 6th. I forgot what even happened on that day. I forgot what even happened on that day. I do want to see real quick here. This. Oh, okay. So CSU doesn't even have a tornado risk in Illinois or Missouri. It has the tor risk in North Dakota, probably. I'd have to imagine if this went up to Canada, it would continue that 2% up into Canada, maybe even a 5% up into Manitoba. Or rather, Saskatchewan. Actually, I believe both of those areas. Right on the border. Oh boy. We pushing it with this one. It's going to be a close call to saying bye-bye to my power. The good news is it's slowed down, so hopefully by the time this arrives, I can get outside. I mean, get indoors, away from doors and windows. Yeah, that's what I meant. I didn't say go outside. What? No. I'd never. Totally not. Oh yeah, CSU sucks for MCVs. I don't trust it one bit. It's horrible. NATO Cast, on the other hand, has done very well with them. Also, big weather-wise update coming out tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern. For those of you who use weather-wise. Which this is weather front right now, but weather-wise just as good. Weather-wise is definitely just as good. I've just been using Weatherfront a little bit more because I like the style of the map. It feels more modern, to be honest with you, but weather-wise is definitely right up there. I will say I definitely need to change the reports on here to 3 hours. I don't need reports from yesterday. I know Radar Omega had an update. All I saw was they added like the globe and updated some of their satellite. I'm not going back to Radar Omega. It would take a lot. It would take a lot. It would probably take more than a lot. I promise I don't go outside for tour warnings. Oh, I trust you. Definitely. Depends. For me, it depends what it looks like on radar. Thankfully, I have never been in one of those situations where I'm like, I'm not going outside and I'm seeking shelter. The only time I ever had that was when I chased the PDS tornado warning in Reedsville in either somewhere around 2022, right around there. I turned right around. I was like, heck no. That thing had a huge debris ball. Nope. Turning that car around, going home. It was night, starting to turn night too. I don't mess around with Mother Nature when the sun goes down. No, thank you. It's dangerous enough in the day as is. Then you turn invisible. I'm gonna go to, let's see. When the heck did that happen? 2024. I looked up something on Twitter, and what popped up was my own tweet of an unwarned tornado that lofted debris 4,000 plus feet up in Myrtle Head, North Carolina. Interesting. I guarantee you I wasn't chasing that day. Anytime the coastline does something, I'm not there. I'm not there, man. It would take a crazy setup for me to go chase the coastline. The only times I've chased the coastline have been there goes the severe. Goodbye. Have been hurricanes and tropical storms. There's your severe thunderstorm. Once again, going into Raleigh for 60 mile an hour winds. Do you know what the weatherwise update is about? No. I'm sure I could find out early, but I'd rather not spoil it for myself. And there's more flash flood warnings. New flash flood warning just got out for Wake County, North Carolina. And Durham is in it again, man. Durham, you've been in, I think, 3 flash flood warnings in the last 4 days. On mobile. Let's find out together. Open the Weatherwise app. We're going to try 3 different areas here. Top left, you go to the Weatherwise icon with the tornado. Go to... Hold on. I got to remember it. Got to figure out which one it is. Where are you? I feel like it's not there. Hold on. Black screen time. 3, 2, 1, disappear. You know what? It appears it's not out on mobile. So, at least not that the app, maybe I haven't updated it. No, I haven't updated it. My end. First, make sure you've updated the Weatherwise app. That would help. It's still not there. So what you got to do is you got to use the, it's on browser only then. So you have to do it through the web browser. Yep, there it is in web browser. Dang. Unless I'm blind. That's the thing about Weatherwise. The UI is kind of all over the place. I found it. I found it. Caleb, I found it. I found it. It's on my preferences. It might be a pro feature. So if you go to that icon at the top left, my preferences, go to map pop-up UI, change that to single, and additional settings will pop up, and turn on the pop-up drag handle and the pop-up spotlight. And then change the pop-up spotlight opacity, I forgot how you say that. Change that to 50% or whatever you want. I think mine is at 50%. It might be a pro feature. Sometimes with these features, what they do is they release them to pro first, and then they will put it to a plus or free tier. It is a plus feature right now. So if you have just the 1-up, there's 3 tiers. There's free, plus, pro. If you have the plus, you have that setting available. I need to get back to using Weatherwise, man. Weatherwise is awesome. Why do I not have fast scan on here? What the heck? There we go. When did I turn off fast scan? It's dumb. Fast scan is one of my favorite features on Weatherwise. There we go. Perfect. Could Massachusetts be in play? I wouldn't say you are in play for the much of the MCS and Derecho potential, but you are in play for damaging winds and the leftovers. You are in play for some leftovers. I wouldn't rule out an MCS at some point if our flow gets far enough north. For instance, like the Euro 12Z has an instance where that flow might just be far enough north on Wednesday, July 15th on this particular model to where it would overlap in the New England states. So I wouldn't rule out a random MCS in the Northeast, but I don't think you'll be in the hot spot. More mid-Atlantic events. Yep, I'm probably thinking, really what I'm thinking most of is west of the Appalachian Mountains. So what I'm thinking is kind of from like central east Iowa into Missouri, Kentucky, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, kind of Wisconsin and Michigan. I think that's going to be the hot spot. That looks to be where your best chance for Cape will be and your best chance for flow will be. Wherever those two overlap, wherever your 500 millibar overlaps and your Cape overlaps. Sorry about me having to change. The site broke for a second. And it looks like somewhere right in there is where that will be the greatest. Again, like right in here. Somewhere in there. Over 1,100 reports from Saturday. Yep. I believe that makes it the biggest damaging wind event this year. Pretty sure. Our main MCS potential looks to be from roughly July 13th, probably till the end of July. We'll have to just pay attention to the location of that high pressure. If the high pressure is further north, that window may only be 3 or 4 days. If that high pressure is further to the south, we might be talking about 2 weeks of derecho potential being almost daily. Let's see. What's the most amount of wind reports we've had in one day? Good question. Good question. I have no idea. I do know that it's over 1,400. I could tell you that. I can tell you that. I don't know how much it is precisely, but it's at least 1,400. Google says May 26th, which I don't know which May 26th. It just says May 26th. We can go look at that May 26th. I'm assuming this moderate. Oh, hey. Well, that's 1,031. However, we already know that that's been beaten. 2021, nope. Uh-oh. Google might be caught lying. I'm just waiting for one of these days, like a million reports pop up. I'm not saying anything crazy, though, other than 2024. Yeah, I'm not too sure what day. It doesn't look like it was May 26th, so I'm thinking Google's wrong on this, but I would say at least 1,400 reports. Actually, you know what? That's a very good date right there. I do remember that day had a lot of reports. Total reports just over 1,000, but yeah, that was pure chaos for tornadoes. March 31st, 2023. 2012, Derecho has to be up there. What day? Do you know what date that was? I know we just passed the. I feel like we just passed the anniversary to that. Oh well, there you go. That's June 29th, 1,195. So that's for sure up there. I don't think December 15th, 2021 is going to be up there. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't think so. 565, yet one of the most memorable derechos. I know 2020 had a bad derecho. When was that? August 10th? 910. But all right, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I appreciate all you guys for tuning in to another live stream, all the mods from on chat, and everybody for being here. I just wanted to hop on and talk about the weather. I won't have any content probably for the next 2 days or so. Might be a little bit longer than that. Really, just the next few days are just windbags, so I'm not sure when the next live stream or video will be. But with that being said, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Sorry I have to rush off a little bit because that time is approaching quickly. So stay safe, watch the severe weather, and I'll see you guys in the next live stream or video that I do. Thank you much for modern chat. Have a great rest of your night. Goodbye. Stay safe, watch the severe weather, and I'll see you guys in the next live premiere video that I do. Have a great rest of your night. Thank you much for mod and chat. Goodbye.